guys, and welcome to another episode of This Is Where It's At. I'm David, and I'm here with my boy Danny.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And today we're going to be reviewing a video game called Arkham Asylum. Now, this is going to be an interesting review because this is going to be a three-parter. I like to call the Arkham trilogies. We're going to be doing Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then the long-awaited Arkham Origins. Now, Arkham Asylum was released in 2009. Its developer was called Rocksteady Studios. Publishers was Eidos Interactive and Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. This game itself, I would have to say, was the game that everybody had been waiting for. This was the Batman. All its predecessors were, it's hard to say, garbage. And every studio that tried to do Batman didn't exactly do it right. But this game revolutionized Batman in such a way. Right now we're going to get into story. How we were introduced to the game, actually. So, Danny, how were you introduced?
I think I had an account on GameFly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge gamer, and I love games. I love Batman. Batman's one of my favorite characters. I love his whole backstory and his villains, everything. So I used to be a subscriber on GameFly, and one day I remember I put it on the list. You could have like 10 games on there, and I forgot I put it like number 1. And then one day, my mom was like, "Hey, you got something came in the mail for you," and I opened it, and I'm like, "Batman Arkham Asylum." Oh, I remember this game. Yeah, I want to play it. I never owned this game. I only played it by renting it.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute it opened, I was like, wow, this is the Batman game, or Batman story I always wanted to see be done. And it's so cool that Kevin Conroy came back to do the voice, and Mark Hamill to be the classic Joker that he came up with. And that's how I was introduced to the game. And, probably the trailers beforehand and all.
Yeah, I know I was introduced because I was looking at some old footage. Well, it wasn't really old. It was actually recent of The Dark Knight. Because Dark Knight had came out a year before this game. So Batman was already hyped by that point. And then I'm hearing something about a video game being done. And I'm like, well, what is this? Is this something that follows the Dark Knight storyline that Christopher Nolan had done? Yeah. And then I saw that this is actually comic book based. So I was a little iffy at first. I was like,
because all the bad games.
Yeah. All the bad games that came before it. I was just like, this, all right, whatever. And then I actually started seeing some footage from it, and I was like, wow, the graphics are amazing. Okay, the fighting is actually pretty martial art like. I was blown away.
The attention to detail to that game is just magnificent.
Yeah, and then they tell you, listen, when you're gonna play Batman, you're gonna play him to the fullest. You're gonna play who Batman is. Right?
You're gonna be Batman.
Exactly. You are Batman. Yeah. So I had no intention of actually buying the game, even though I was stoked that I was like, wow, this is going to be a great game. But I just lost interest, and then my mother bought it for me for Christmas, and I started playing it, and man, I was hooked. I was like, they finally got it right.
Oh yeah,
finally got it right. You, man. So that's how we both were introduced, I should say, to the game. Danny, how did you feel about the overall storyline?
I dug it, dude. This game is so perfect to me. Mm-hmm. I love how it opens. I really do. The opening, boom, you see the Batmobile coming by, and it jumps right into it. You see Batman, and then he's no Batman that we've seen before. This is like the true Batman, finally, from the comics. He is mean, he's ruthless, he doesn't give a shit, and he's groomed. Yeah. He's been around the block for years.
Yes.
And I love that relationship. It's almost like a brother relationship with them two, him and Joker.
Yeah.
The brother you hate, of course.
Of course.
Can't kill.
Yeah, your own very own personal Cain and Abel.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I like how it started. I love the opening to it. It felt like a movie. Mm-hmm. And like you said, we got Batman Begins, then we got The Dark Knight. And from those two movies, the hype especially from The Dark Knight to this game was simply, perfection at its finest. It was at the right time this movie and the game came out. Overall storyline, I love how the Joker's, using what Bane uses, but turning it into Titan or something.
Yeah, it's called the Titan.
Yeah, and creating other beastly
it's basically Titan is the serum that's enhanced. It's a serum venom, and they add some supplements to it that make it stronger than venom.
Yeah.
And he's basically using it on his henchmen to develop a Bane army.
Yeah, and I like that. That was really kind of awesome, and it felt. And the one perfect thing about this, and it's because The Dark Knight came out, it felt real at some points. It felt like not that this could happen. It was because they took it serious.
Yeah,
a lot of Batman games were just funny and dumb, and no one really cared about the character until now. I love the overall storyline with all the characters in it and what Batman has to go through for a night.
Yeah.
One night in Arkham Asylum where he puts everyone in there, where he should be in there.
Yeah, basically.
Bruce Wayne should be in there.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
one of the best things is he created all these guys.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, some of them are... It is Batman's own doing. Yeah. Joker was created, and he's supposed to be his arch nemesis. There's no worse bad guy than the Joker when it comes to Batman.
Yep.
Okay, when it comes to Batman, Joker is that villain that, I mean, even in I know you don't like this, but in Batman Beyond, I'm getting a little sidebar. In Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis says, "Okay, I'm gonna go after the Joker," and it's Bruce Wayne who says, "No.
Yeah.
Give me back the bat suit. You've done a good job. Now I have to deal with him." Because he knows that the Joker is that psychotic, murder-loving, evil psychopath who takes all death as a joke. And I feel that they did a really good job bringing him out.
Oh, yeah.
And, it just...
it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah, going back to it, you created a monster. And now you're responsible. It's like Batman says, like, every person he kills is on me. Yeah. Because of that mistake I made that one night.
Now, I really love where the storyline goes. Like, in the beginning, you don't... as Batman, of course, it's a mystery. Like, what is the Joker up to, And everything leading up to the end was really just great. Like, and there was some parts where you're like, oh man, they have this character in it that I love. Like Zaz in the opening. I was like, oh shit, they got Zaz in this. You knock him out, which is alright. That's cool. Bane was a little let down with it. But we'll get to the characters in a little bit.
Yes, we will.
Just, overall storyline. I really loved it. I love that it's one night in Arkham Asylum and you alone. You have no help. You got Gordon there, but can't really.
Yeah, basically, you. all the help that you have is the Oracle and information that's given to you. But you do,
and I like that.
And you have to do the heavy lifting, which is the most important part.
Oh, yeah.
For me, the storyline was perfect. Me being a movie lover, but most of all, a comic book lover.
Yeah.
I'm a comic book geek, guys. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. And playing this game, I was in heaven. I thought, I was like, oh my god, they actually got something right. If you can't do a comic book movie, you can seriously do a comic book video game.
Yeah, and we should get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. But overall storyline, first of all, they meshed everything perfectly well together. This was a Batman universe, and I loved how it opened when they were driving in the Batmobile, because you already get established what kind of world Batman is in. Okay? Let me get into that a little bit. You see Superman's world. Every time you see a Superman poster, it's never nighttime. It's always day.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you see a Green Lantern poster, it's always it's always in outer space, but everything's so colorful and bright. Wonder Woman, same thing. Well, as far as the sunlight, Flash, sun, it's only when you get to Batman that you see darkness. You see nighttime. But it's not just nighttime. Because nighttime can be beautiful as well. But Batman's forms of night is dark, eerie, scary. It just has that sense that where he is, you will not be safe.
Yeah, I love when you know, after you get established it's Batman and the Joker in the Batmobile, it cuts to the camera up. You see the asylum, and you see above it like the greenish. Like
it has greenish clouds,
just, you
eerie.
know it's a bad place.
This is a bad place, and this is what I love about the story. They established Batman is in
it's almost gothic. Like it's in Gothic universe.
But that's the great thing about it because his city is called Gotham.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
So it's a beautiful thing. So I mean, in the story, the overall storyline, the developers of these games truly stuck to the world that Batman lives in. And the storyline did not stray away from that tone at all. The characters were meshed well together. Nothing was made. Nothing as far as sticking to the characters. Nothing was made up. So the story for them fitting. They were all what they are in the comics. So for putting them in this storyline and making it work so well was beautiful.
Especially the characters they picked.
The only thing that I hate I'm not going to say I hated. I frowned upon. Was the ending. And
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
That's
the last. That's probably
that's probably overall the ending. So that's how it was. But Danny, the question I have for you is how did you feel about the characters?
Oh, dude. Oh yeah. I mean, Batman. We'll start with the Bat. Kevin Conroy coming back doing the voice.
Yep, Kevin Conroy. He's been doing this for about what, 19. Probably for decades. I would say like 2 decades.
2 decades, 20 years. Look, we
grew
up on the animated series. You know, I love the original animated series with him, but with this game, with the characters, I really enjoyed that they put all these villains in it, like Poison Ivy, which was very surprising that they put her, because they never really touch upon her, you know, and they put all these weird characters in it, you know, like Killer Croc, you know, like I love Killer Croc. I think he's awesome, and I love how huge he is and stuff like that. That was really cool. I love it's like, I got your scent, Batman, you know.
Yeah.
And Batman doesn't even move, dude. He doesn't even flinch. He's like, all right, I don't give a fuck. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll fuck you up.
That's exactly the type of character he is.
Yeah, I loved him, and his sequence was awesome during this game. I love Poison Ivy in it. She was really interesting. Harley Quinn was awesome. I've always, like, in these movies and other games, you never really get her. In this one, you finally got her in it. And, you know, how she bounces off the Joker and stuff with performances. And
interesting enough, Harley Quinn, the actor who plays her is actually called Arlene Sorkin. But her name is Orlean.
Orlean. Okay.
And Harley Quinn's real name is Harleen. So I think that's cool. That's pretty cool. But go ahead.
And who else was in this game? I love the Oracle being there. That was pretty cool. That was a cool touch to it.
Oracle. If you guys don't know who the Oracle is, that is Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. Reason why she's the Oracle, because she got paralyzed by a bullet shot by the Joker.
So was the Joker, dude.
Yeah, always the Joker. Always the Joker.
You got Commissioner Gordon in it, and I like him. He was really good in it. Who else was in this one? Oh, one of the surprising characters in this game was... Come on, David, you know who it was. It was Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah. I was really shocked when they put Scarecrow in there.
He was scary looking.
Dude.
Like, they really... The game was freaky at times.
Yeah, it was freaky.
It was really
at some point, yeah.
It
was some point you was just like, yo, is this a comic book game or is this a horror game?
Right.
Because at some point it had that twist, like you was afraid to see what was around the corner.
Yeah.
You know, things would pop out at you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was very mind-boggling, very psychological, that game. I do love the character of Scarecrow because, you know, at one point you're like seeing all these stuff. You see bugs crawling out of the wall, but you don't see no vents. And like, yo, where are these coming from?
Yeah, he taps into your fears.
Yeah,
things.
definitely.
That's really great for the character.
Yeah, and for that character to be intertwined with that storyline, it's so great because then you have that little fear thing, and you see your mom and your dad laying, and they're like, Bruce, Why didn't you save us?
That was really cool.
You know, it was
the
beautiful.
trips you go through with Scarecrow is pretty good. But one of the disappointing characters to the game was Bane.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when you told me about him. Like, I remember him in the animated series, but you know, of course, that movie Batman and Robin ruined what he was. And then I remember when this game came out, and you told me after we played it, you were like, "Oh, one thing." I was like, "Yeah, Bane wasn't that cool. All you do is jump out of the way, and he bumps into the wall, and you beat him up."
Exactly.
And you told me he's this like mastermind, like smartest person. You know?
For y'all who do not know exactly who Bane is and are just going off the video game, Bane's character, Bane was born in a prison. Quick scenario, quick summary of who Bane is. Bane was born in a prison and was raised in a prison. He read all sorts of books, so he had a genius intellect. He was a master schemist. He became a mercenary. He was a master of just making master plots, basically, like robbing, heists. Sometimes he would be hired for hitman work, assassinations. He was an expert martial artist. He really knew how to fight. Bane, at the time, was the exact opposite or mirror of what Bruce Wayne could have been if he followed a life of crime.
Yeah.
Basically. The only difference that they had was that Bane was an experiment for the serum called Venom. And it made him stronger. But he was such a genius at breaking down the bat that he said, I know I need to break him down, but I can't break him down just physically. It has to be mentally, and it has to be emotionally. This guy has to feel like he is nothing. Like nothing that he does will matter. And then I will break the body. For me to say that that's a disappointment, I can understand. It's a disappointment for me, but I can understand why they didn't go that route, because honestly, you would have an overshadow of the Joker, because the Joker is the main villain in this game.
And that's what's good about this game with the characters and the rogue gallery, the villains in it, is that you know who the villain is. The number one guy of this game. The antagonist is the Joker.
Yes.
And the protagonist is Batman. But there's sub-characters. There's supporting roles in it. And Bane, I get why he was huge, like really like monster huge, because of the Titan that we're doing.
Yeah.
The Titan, I like that. He was hanging up on all the...
And he was so scrawny, man. It was like a pathetic... pathetic looking human.
And I like that. That was really cool. But overall, that was probably the most disappointing character in it. Who else was in this one?
I mean, we had Bane, we had Victor Zsasz, we had Edward Nygma, the Riddler, who, I mean, you really have to, like, get all his trophies in order to see him, I think. I never actually did it, because I thought that was a waste of time. You had Killer Croc, you had Poison Ivy. I think that's it. Is that all the villains?
I think that's about it.
Yeah,
man, I can't wait until we talk. A little side note, can't wait until we talk about Arkham City, because this is the difference between them games. Getting back to this, with the characters, I told you, it's perfect how many characters they picked.
Yeah.
And so simple, like, they didn't overdo it and put them all in it. Like, there's cool things, like, I remember in the game, I called you out, I'm like, yo, David, you know that part where you're in Blackgate, and there's a guy behind this closed off.
Yeah.
You can't see, but you can only see him through the detective.
Yeah.
And he's changing forms. I was like, who is that, bro? And you were like, that's
Clayface, yeah.
And I went, what? I was like, that, oh, man, Clayface. I love Clayface.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little, like, you know, it was, okay.
A
little wink to say, hey,
cameo.
we didn't forget about this guy.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I think the best thing, actually, that we just discovered, this is like an epiphany, the best thing about these characters is that they're minimal.
Yeah.
You only have you have like, I think 4. What is it? It's okay. The Joker's the main.
Yeah.
You got Harley Quinn, who's basically the sidekick.
Yeah.
You have Bane. You have Scarecrow.
Right.
And you have Poison Ivy, and Killer Croc.
Scarecrow.
No, we already said Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
So far, I'm up to 7 villains.
I think that's about it.
That's about it. 7. You have a total of 7 villains. Now all of them have a major role in it, but they have a section in Arkham Asylum that is now their domain, because the Joker has set up this scheme so perfectly that Arkham Asylum are now being ruled by the inmates. So what was their prison has now become their not to say paradise, but now their domain. Yeah, I was held here, but now I rule this.
Absolutely.
Which I think, the characters were played to such a T. Killer Croc, he was in the sewers. I think
was awesome.
that gameplay was awesome. I think that was very interesting that you couldn't fight him face to face. You couldn't go toe to toe with him unless you wanted to die.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one thing about it. You had Poison Ivy. You couldn't fight her face to face, which was cool. I mean, who wants to beat up a chick? But throwing batarangs at her was fine. I mean, Bane dodging and then hitting, great. But everybody's character was played to a T, and I do as a comic book fan, I very well approved of it. Now, their performances, Danny, what did you think of? First of all, Kevin Conroy's performance as Batman is always great.
Yeah, it was surprising that it was that fantastic. Like I said, it opened like a movie and played like a movie at times.
Yep.
And it just, talking about the Joker right now, Mark Hamill, it's just like, man, he could have been a really good Joker in real life.
Yeah, live action movie.
Yeah, like they could have gave him a shot when he was younger.
Yeah. I mean, if he had actually auditioned, I mean, it would have been interesting to hear him or see him audition for, let's just say, 1989's Batman, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, directed by Tim Burton. Let's just say if Jack Nicholson didn't get the part and it was given to Mark Hamill, honestly, I don't acting-wise or motion-wise, maybe he wouldn't be on par with Jack, but that voice would have stuck. I mean, it stuck with us now.
I think it would have been like Heath Ledger. It just would have been surprising. It probably wouldn't be an Oscar-winning performance, but it'd be very surprising. Like, wow, that's Luke Skywalker
playing the Joker.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? As much as we don't have it live action, we do have it in voice. So, and he gives a performance with the voice. So, overall, he is a Joker.
He is the Joker.
Yeah, and he's that damn good. And look, I don't know the video game awards. I don't know what they do, but I would give it to both of them. I would. I think Kevin Conroy brought it with this one. He was amazing in it. And Mark Hamill did his thing with this one. Everyone else was good. I'm not really known. I don't know much about the other characters, voice actors, but everyone brought it. Whoever they played, they brought it.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints about the performances.
It was a well voice acted.
Yeah, you have Kevin Conroy. He did his thing as the Batman like he always does. Mark Hamill brought it as the Joker in every Joker world that he plays. Dr. Jonathan Crane. The one thing I can't really go into the other characters because they don't really have that much of a lengthy role in it. It's just.
But they do
they listen. They do their thing. Yeah. I mean, who else can I say that was actually that could stand out? I mean, we were just surprised.
Harley Quinn was good.
Harley Quinn was great. She's always she's
just the cutest killer.
Yeah, that's because you got a personal crush on her. Tear that ass up.
She's off the chain.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the played by Arlene Sorkin. Yeah, I mean, she was dope. She was dope. I think that's the original voice of Harley Quinn, this actress. Because I mean, when I heard the voices, that's one thing. When I heard the voices,
it's the cartoon.
It's the cartoon, except for Commissioner Gordon and Bane. Everybody, I think it was the three main ones: Batman, Harley Quinn, and the Joker. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones like, yo, we gotta get these guys. Yeah. All right, otherwise nobody cares about everybody else. You just have to get these guys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody's performances, whether it was short, it was believable. And that's good enough for a game. Good enough for everything. It has to be believable. If I don't believe it, then the game's not that. I mean, the gameplay is great, the gameplay is great, story is great. But if I'm not believing the characters, that's going to take away from the story. Yeah. But it wasn't that, but that wasn't the case. Everybody was on top of their game, regardless of how lengthy time they had on screen, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
But let's get to something interesting. Let's get to the gameplay. Now, this is a Batman game, ladies and gentlemen, and gameplay has everything to do to whether a Batman game is going to be good. And let's just say it, Danny. I'm just going to start off with it.
Yeah, you go. Go ahead.
This gameplay, me being a personal fan of Batman, it was to the T. First thing we're going to talk about is the stealth. Yeah, I can get into the detective mode, which is great. I can get into the martial arts, which I'm a personal lover of martial arts as well. But the stealth. When you are stealthy and you're hiding, you feel like the Batman. Okay? Stealth was really introduced, or I say reintroduced, in Batman Begins. Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins that came out in 2005. You saw how stealthy this guy was and how his stealth, or you just knew he was there, but you just didn't know where he was.
Yeah, you can see that this game, the creators of this game, the publishers and developers really did watch those movies.
Yeah. Watch the movies or read the game.
Yeah,
read the comics.
Even if they didn't watch the movies followed the comics, and this followed the comics to a T too.
Exactly.
If you're doing a Batman game, you can't just have him during daylight.
You gotta
have him at night and have him be Batman.
And this is the thing though. I love how they did the stealth. It's not because that he was he was intimidating. He had to intimidate the guys he was going to take out. He had to instill fear in these guys. But the necessity of the stealth. Because, ladies and gentlemen, for any other game that you have played, you will realize that Batman, even though he is the Batman, you got to take the bat out of it and realize that he is just still a man. Yeah. You can't run up to these guys who have guns. Literally, they will kill you. Yeah. It takes out so much of your life when you get shot. That's why hiding is a necessity. Yeah. But you use hiding to your own advantage. And I thought that them getting that right was the most beautiful thing that I had seen. They got that part down, which automatically believed that I was the Bat. The more guys you took out, I love how the AI interacted. The more dudes you took out, the more they got scared. And if you went into detective mode, you could see their heartbeat changing. Yeah, that was really cool. And it told you it was steady. And then it says panicking. And then it goes faster, terrified. Yeah. You've actually drove fear into those who would prey on the fearful. Yeah. Okay? That right there is great. Martial arts based was phenomenal. I mean, you got this dude throwing right hooks, and then throwing a roundhouse kick, and then a palm to the face, a tie elbow to the head, doing all types of flips and stuff. I mean, when you get to a certain point, you can actually disable somebody, just crack their leg, and then they're out of the picture for good. You really felt like you could fight like Batman. If they didn't have guns and they only had like stabbing weapons or a bludgeoning object, yeah, it showed that you were the master at hand-to-hand combat. Okay, so that right there was great. You having all this equipment with you, grappling gun, that thing that's, I don't know the name of it, but that thing that puts out the exploding liquid, batarangs.
Oh,
the explosives, yeah. The explosive gel, whatever.
Yeah. Where he draws the bat.
Yeah,
I like that. Like the little touches to him.
Yeah.
Always being obsessed with bats.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's very interesting because, I mean, another sidebar, in one of the episodes of Batman Beyond, there was this villain who was getting into Bruce Wayne's mind and was telling him to kill himself. And Bruce Wayne knew he wasn't going crazy, even though everybody thought he was, and he was in the hospital. He told Terry, find out who this guy is. And Terry found out, and they defeated him, and then he came back, but he said, how do you know that it was him? He's like, because he kept saying, Bruce. It was my voice, but I kept saying, Bruce. He's like, well, what made you think that it wasn't you? Mm-hmm. That's not what I call myself. What do you call yourself? And he smiled. And right there, he calls himself Batman. Like, he has become this thing. He's basically not Bruce Wayne anymore.
That's what's kind of scary about him.
Yeah, he's psychological. You said it yourself.
Yeah,
he honestly belongs in an asylum with these guys. Batman is crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would spend billions of dollars on equipment, dress up as a bat, and beat criminals to a pulp with their bare hands. Nobody would do that.
One thing I like about Batman is that he doesn't kill.
No.
That's ironic, isn't it?
It's very ironic. He will go to distances that Superman wouldn't even go, but he will not cross that line.
Yeah.
He will not cross that line. He's a guy who says, I will do anything except this. He had set limits to himself. But anyways, getting back to the gameplay, that was great. Detective mode was great. When you had to follow either the corrupt cop's alcohol scent, or Jim Gordon's tobacco stains, or blood from wherever, it really instilled Batman's detective side. Which is Batman what it is. I mean, Batman is called the Cape Crusader in The Dark Knight, but he's also called the world's greatest detective. Yeah. And you really got that in this game. I mean, these guys really wanted to get Batman down to a T. So,
and they did.
They really did. Batman's gliding was great. The grapple hook. I mean, yeah, everything was good. I mean, that's my perspective on it. I might be missing a few things, but that's why I got my boy here to fill in the blanks.
I really like the fact that they put you in Batman. You know, when you play, you feel like Batman. And I told you earlier, the opening of this podcast was that you're a groomed Batman. You've been around the block. Mm-hmm. So he's not gonna fight you 400 times. He's gonna knock you out. He's gonna break some bones. You know what I mean? He's gonna take you out quickly and as fast as possible. And he is so smart. You know, there'll be people behind a wall. You put the explosive gel in, boom, blow it up, they're knocked out, you know? I like that. He goes to the moon and back to save people, you know? Where sometimes you can be like, you don't really need to save these doctors in that sequence where, you know, you need to find out what the Joker's, where's this Titan stuff coming from. The fighting aspect is really amazing, you know? I really like that they make you feel like Batman at that point where you just know every martial art move in the world, you know. The only thing I don't like about the gameplay, and it's a little thing, it's not going to take away from my overall rating or anything, it's just the fighting the villains. It does get repetitive after a while.
It does, yeah.
The majority of the time is you jump out of the way, you throw your batarang, you fight them, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, there's no, like, counters or, you know, like Bane's, like you said, he's exactly like you in the fighting world.
Yeah.
You know? I would have loved it if you two could boom, but Bane didn't look like that in this.
No, he did. I
mean,
he really
felt
didn't.
like he'll break a wall and take.
Yeah. And
actually,
that's
what they all did. They took things and threw it
at you. I mean, they really. I
guess
Bane was just a big brute, basically.
I guess what I'm saying with the gameplay is the number one thing they really focused a lot about was the detectiveness.
Yeah.
It made you feel like a cop, like a detective. He is the greatest detective
in the world. Yeah.
And I love that part. That's why I was like, this is the Batman game I've been waiting for, where you could just switch to that detective mode where you could see everything, you know, examine, you know, and it was just perfect, you know. The fight, I like when you fight the henchman. It's really cool. Hopefully in Origins, which I've heard that you do fight people that fight back and do counter what you have, which is awesome. So finally we get that. And because, you know, when you fight all these henchmen, they don't know how to fight.
Yeah, they're just street fighters. Kill you. They're basically trying to kill you. They're street fighters.
Yeah. And so with my overall review of the gameplay, it's pretty damn amazing. There's some little things where but that doesn't really hurt the game at all, you know. But
well, how do you feel about the visual effects? Let's get into the visual effects of the game.
Visual effects, the visualness of the game. I really liked it. I mean, just alone to bring up the Scarecrow sequence, okay, where it felt like a dream.
Yeah.
You know, it felt
or
like
a nightmare.
A nightmare in your head. You know what I mean?
Made reality.
Dude, it's just like what they say. He brings out the fear in you, what you're so scared of. Yeah. You know, and I noticed something where those skeletons that come up, you know, to me, it kind of felt like Bruce Wayne's afraid of, like, death or afraid of, you know, the dead coming back, which are what? His parents.
Yeah, his
you know
parents,
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
he's afraid of that. That's always in his mind and stuff.
It's more like, is he afraid of dying, or is he afraid what death has taken from him?
Yeah, or what death is going to come to him.
Yeah,
you know, what will happen when you die and stuff. And you could also go like, how many people have died that he's known? These are all the people coming back. You know, you could go so far into depth.
Yeah, like who are these? What are these skeletons coming up? What significance do they have? You know, now that you mention it, it's really there's just skeletons coming up. I'm not to say that that's a big like a big frown on it, but it's interesting. I was like, do you just put those there? You could go, like you said, you could dig real deep down to what these skeletons mean.
Yeah.
That come up and you have to fight. You know, are these?
And it's just as little as that. It's just one little sequence where you fight these skeletons.
Yeah.
But it just stands out like, yeah, these are probably all the people that died in his life.
But getting back to overall visuals, I mean,
and that sequence was really good. The Poison Ivy stuff I really liked.
The color,
visuals.
the coloring,
the template to it was pretty damn dope with the greens and
I gotta say myself that visually,
the reds and the purples.
Visually, it has a dark tone, which is perfect for the world of Batman. It is so gripping.
You know what? I'm gonna bring this up. I don't know if you're gonna agree with me, but it's what Batman Forever and Batman Robin should have been.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He had all those vibrant colors.
Yeah.
All he needed to do was take it down a tone or two with those colors.
Yeah.
Just make it a little bit
basically,
more...
I mean, if you look at Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns, which are not comic bookly accurate, but accurate. Oh man, my words today. Accurate.
But the
visual of the world is right on par because it's dark, and that's what Batman world is, dark. So I could definitely agree with you that Batman Forever and Batman and Robin wasn't accurate with the tone because it was just too colorful. But that's not what this game was.
I think that's what this game is.
Yeah.
They mixed those two worlds.
Like
put it together.
But they had to make sure that every bright color, whether it be red, sometimes pink when it comes to Poison Ivy, green when it comes to Killer Croc, yellow when it comes to Scarecrow. It was all those colors were darkened.
Yeah, it was toned down.
It was toned down to let you know that these are like their like signature colors, but they're all dark. Oh, yeah. They're all bad news. Visually, I mean, it was perfect. Visually, it was perfect.
This was really cool. I want to bring this that he had his own like little bat cave on Arkham.
Yeah.
On the island or whatever where it
is. That's dope.
I really like that. I just want like this guy is so fucking paranoid and nuts to do that. And I love it. It's just awesome.
Yeah, like he does. He's like he could easily be diagnosed with schizophrenia and paranoid delusions.
Yeah.
A paranoid schizophrenic, because who the hell builds a bat cave on a prison in a prison? He's like, just in case there's a riot. And I need to go there.
Yeah. Which eventually did happen.
Technically, this was probably one of the biggest riots in history. Comic book world, anyway. But I mean, visually, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, when you get to the water, when you get to, when you look into the sky, you can see Gotham City in the distance. Yeah. Because this
Arkham Asylum alone.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But that's an interesting fact. Arkham, you see water, you see Arkham, you see Gotham City, but does that mean that Arkham Asylum is an island? If so, are they connected by a bridge? Because remember, they have to be connected by a bridge because Batman got there by his Batmobile. Yeah. That's how he got the Joker to Arkham Asylum. So maybe there is a bridge.
I think there is.
Yeah, there probably is a bridge.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be a bridge. That's the only way you can get there if you go and...
So I was thinking about
because supposedly in the storyline, it's in Gotham City Hall that Joker actually does a crime in there, and that's where Batman captures him and brings him back to Arkham Asylum. But yeah, visually, like I said...
Yeah, even with the visuals going towards the characters like before, we forgot to say this, that Calendar Man, when you walk into his... cell, you have all the calendars around there.
Yeah, and that that's another thing. These guys really dug deep into the comic books to bring out information, because I'm a comic book lover. I didn't even know there was a Calendar Man.
Yeah.
I didn't even know until there was a
Solomon Grundy too. Like, I think there's
well,
a cell that you go into.
And it says Solomon Grundy?
I think so. I think it's written somewhere.
Okay, well, he's definitely in the next game, which we will be reviewing in part 2. But yeah, I mean, when you see Calendar Man, I only read up on Calendar Man when it got to when I read The Long Halloween.
Yeah, great comic.
Great comic book, guys.
If
you like reading and you like reading with books with little pictures, definitely read that book. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna wrap it up on the visual effects. We both think
fantastic.
Overall, it's fantastic. Yeah. The ending. I'm gonna start off with the ending. Now,
go on.
This is a great Batman game. However, I really thought it ended cliche. Very cliche. Had a cliche ending. Now, I'm not talking about the last scene where you see either the way you play the game, either you see Scarecrow's hand on the Titan formula or Bane's hand on the Titan formula. I'm talking about the last boss you fight, which is the Joker. But he takes the Titan formula himself. Now, I guess it would, everything was leading to that. It probably was obvious. But at the same time, cliche, because now you're fighting a big boss. Huge boss that is the Joker. It just feels like, okay, now it feels more video game-like. Yeah. Rather than a comic book world.
Agree with you on that. Like, everything led up to this point, and I'm thinking you're going to fight the Joker as the Joker,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're going to beat the crap
out of him, yeah, of course.
But then the moment came where he took the Titan formula and became what you fought before with Bane and the other ones that he made as, like, henchmen. And it was cool, though. Like, it's cool that you have to use your Batclaw, the three of them, to pull him down, to beat him up and all that. Like, I don't mind the gameplay of that. Just the fact that it ends that way, or like it led up to this, was just like, oh man, alright. This is an okay ending. It's not gonna ruin the game for me. But one thing I love about the ending is after it's all done, they take the Joker away. You're with Gordon, you're talking some stuff with him, and you hear it over the intercom. That Two-Face took over, blah blah, and that pumped me up because Two-Face is my favorite villain of Batman. You know this.
Yes, I know very well.
You know me for like 8 years now.
It's not about what's right. It's about what's fair.
I love that. And I wish they did it. So when I heard that, I was like, yo, they're gonna make a second one.
Yeah.
This is considered a masterpiece for every game reviewer out there.
Yeah. It was good.
It was one of the best games of 2009. It had everything great about it. So and then he shoots himself up to the Batwing, and I'm just like, oh, dude, what's so great about that part is like his night never ends.
Yeah, his night never break. You never take a break.
Someone doing something.
That's how bad Gotham is. There's always crime everywhere. Someone's always doing something. But getting back to the ending, I mean, for me also, and I forgot about this, Joker actually stabs him with one of the syringes that contains the Titan formula.
And it doesn't affect
he wills it not to affect. I mean, listen, I love Batman. Batman is so determined. I was just like, okay, you telling me that this guy doesn't turn because he wills it not? Bullshit. I call bullshit. I'm sorry. I call bullshit on that. Doesn't hurt the game to the point that I'm actually like, okay, the game's alright. The game's still a phenomenal Batman game. Okay. It's just that little hiccup right there where you have this guy. I mean, it's scientific, man. He's still a human being. There's nothing special like Superman, the Flash, or Green Lantern. There's nothing really special about him. He has no special abilities. He's still a regular man. Yeah. Okay? I'm not even going to say a regular man, but a man. He's still a man. Yeah. Okay? So, right then and there, he should have turned. But for some reason, he didn't turn, and Joker used it on himself. He became a big Titan. Yeah.
Like, it just shows you, what's so crazy about it is, like, all the villains that he has are just so insane and fucked up, and they're all freaky looking, and it's always with their faces. Yeah. They all have a mask in a way. Just like Batman. And what's cool, when he stabs him with the syringe, he doesn't turn. It also makes you think, like, Batman's inhuman. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's just that fucking, like, Or maybe just that human. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like that bad. Maybe he's just that human that you can't really turn him. You can never turn Batman.
Yeah,
he'll always be.
That's
Batman,
that's actually interesting. You can never turn Batman, just like Ra's al Ghul would try to turn him. Join the League of Assassins, be the leader.
League of Shadows.
League of Shadows. Well, I mean, League of Shadows. It's really called the League of Assassins, but whatever. That's
how that's how I took it. I didn't mind that part. The ending is cool. It's a cool ending. It's a lot better to the next one we'll talk. Yeah,
the next one we're gonna. Don't worry, Dan. Danny really wants to get into the second part of Arkham City, but Arkham Asylum. I mean, listen. Overall, I mean, the ending was very cliche, but it didn't hurt the game so much that it actually impairs my judgment on how this should be rated. Yeah. I'm gonna go right into ratings, ladies and gentlemen. I'll do myself first. Because we are rating it 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, and I'm going to have to, despite the little knick-knacks here and there, I will give this game a perfect 5, just because I am a video gamer, movie lover, and a comic book lover, and it did feel like one and all. This is like all three was messed together, and this is what you got, and it was done so perfectly. And I can't say anything more. I can't word it anymore. It's perfect. It's a perfect Batman game. Perfect. This is a 5 out of 5 for me.
For me, dude, I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because the little things to me that I never got angry at this game. Never. Not one point I was like, oh man, fuck this game. Never. Mm-hmm. It was the ending that turned me off a little bit. I was like, all right, I'll deal with it. It's a cool ending. It's not the best, but it's okay. Some of again, some of the villains in it that you fight, Bane was a big letdown. The Poison Ivy stuff was cool, but still, it's just like it's all right. It wasn't like the greatest thing in the world, but it was still good. It's just those little things that kind of make it not a masterpiece to me, but it's still an excellent, very good game. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's like they said before, it's the Batman game we're waiting for.
Yeah. And we got. All right, so are you doing the add up right now?
Yeah, together what the overall group of the show is going to give it is a 5.
A 5, yeah. Overall, it's a 5. It is definitely a
perfect game.
It's the perfect Batman game. I mean, when you have a superhero game that's become that's up for best game of the year, you truly have something. You really have something special, lightning in the bottle, so to speak. Because we have all types of superhero games coming out. These days you got Spider-Man. No, actually, you just have Spider-Man and Batman. Honestly,
you don't get a Superman game anymore.
No, I wish. I wish Rocksteady.
After Man of Steel, it's like you can do it now. You can make it cool.
Yeah, you can actually make it cool. An open world. Where it's actually literally an open world, like you could actually travel to any place in the world or whatever.
And that's one thing. I know we're still on Arkham Asylum. That's one thing I like about the Spider-Man video games. Mm-hmm. It's always open world, yeah. Where you could just spin around the city. And stuff.
It's never perfect. It's not a perfect Spider-Man game. This right here, you're simply on the island, a big island where you got to explore,
and that was good.
And that was
good
great.
enough. And then that's what's really funny about certain movies. Always the first one's like in one location, and then the sequel brings it out into a larger scale location.
But what makes this even more great, the fact that this is such a great... I mean, you saying close to perfection, I say perfection. The reason why it's that is... What's so great about that is that Batman got it right. Yeah. Out of all the superheroes they try to do, and because everybody loves Batman, and... Who would have thought Batman would have gotten the game right? So, this is David. I hope you enjoyed listening to our review. Please subscribe, like, show any support. We will have future reviews coming in, movies, video games. So stay tuned for part 2 when we review Arkham City.
Leave comments too, questions if you guys want us to answer and stuff. So, and this is Danny saying peace.